Talk my shit.
Yo, welcome to another episode of the Black Super Friends. I am the Horace Towns, joined by my best friends, at least 2/3, 3/4. Fuck, I don't know fractions. Listen, 75% of us here tonight. How about that?
Okay,
There you go.
All right, so we're breaking our rules tonight. We're gonna have some special guests tune in later on to the discussion because we keep hearing women talk about we need to have more people. So shout out to Jeff Leday who tuned in already. Appreciate the love, brother. Watch Code Red. Fellas, tonight is gonna be an interesting show. You know why? Because tune in. Hey, it's election tomorrow. We don't know what to expect. There's a lot of fear mongering going on with the media. The water cooler talk got people on edge. This weekend was full of various incidents. You know, we seen the Biden versus Trump clashes, and a lot of people are predicting chaos tomorrow night and the day after. So, you know, the night show is going to be about the election. It's going to be about America. It's going to be about a few things, but we're going to do it different tonight, man. I'm definitely going to engage you guys a little different tonight. You know, it's going to be more of an interview because I want your organic thoughts. Before I start off, I want to go into trending news, though, man. The week before, we talked about my brother Ice Cube, who I love very, very much. But this week, we had a different kind of person, and I don't know, it's a different scenario. This week, Lil Wayne, who in a previous interview was like F Black Lives Matter, and you know, he really seemed disingenuous towards the struggle. This week, stepped out in front of political news, and he goes out and he endorses Donald Trump, takes a picture, does a photo op, and does the whole shebang. So it's a little different than Ice Cube, who didn't endorse anybody, but said, hey, I'm just trying to bring up a plan to get us on a even playing field with an economic plan. But Lil Wayne, it's a little different. So I don't know how to prep it up more than that, but I'm going to go to Mario. Let me get your thoughts on that, brother.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy pre-election day. This is as happy as we're going to get for the mockery of an election going to take place tomorrow. Either way, okay. I agree with Jeffrey. Say whoever wins, it's going to be some mess. Lil Wayne. I think Lil Wayne have told us so many times that he does nothing but get high and think about rap. So it's miraculous that people still gets upset or have any kind of reaction when he says anything that has any kind of credence to something that's solid or functional in our communities or in our world today. But we understand he's detached from our reality, and who cares? Like at the end of the day, who cares what Lil Wayne of all people has to say when we don't even know what the hell they're doing day to day? And I seen somebody put this on the internet, which is very true. This is the same guy that didn't read a damn contract for 30 years while Baby was stealing all his money. So who the hell cares what Lil Wayne had to say when you couldn't even get your own affairs right? So if anybody listen to Lil Wayne, then you deserve for your boss to take your paycheck for years and years and years, and then you sit there and beg him to give you back the money you owe and you never get it. And that's the guy that y'all want to listen to or that y'all want to be upset with. Whether he said vote for Biden or Lil Wayne or Trump. Who the hell cares what Lil Wayne has to think? That's my opinion on the whole Lil Wayne, Mr. Hot Boy conversation. What you say? Whoa.
Hello.
It's a mini earthquake.
Okay. Well, for me, man, I think that I feel you. I don't know why anybody's surprised about this guy. I mean, we've seen plenty of videos where he has supported. He's never felt connected to us as a people. But the endorsement of Trump is something that I just don't understand why people is confused about. He's more similar to Trump than either one of us is. his father, which I'm going to say baby, help him start a business by giving a $1 million some donation to it. So they connected in that type of way. They connected in a type of way of they never had to go through. They didn't have to go through the same similar struggles as we had because they had parents that had money. You know, I'm pretty sure it has been all his life, but for a large majority of his life, he has been in that situation. So he probably doesn't feel connected. What I've seen in the video, him talking about him connected to the gang culture, which is very perplexing to me because no, you are as much disconnected to the gang culture as you are to the black struggle. So I think what's different. I think what's different between this and Ice Cube is Ice Cube has always had a track record of fighting for us and being in our corner. I think Lil Wayne has said over and over again in plenty of interviews. I remember him talking about a situation where he got, I don't know, something happened where the police raided and all the black cops walked over him and the white cop helped him, and he's now all of a sudden he's forgiven any cop for anything that they have ever done because of one incident that one cop showed mercy and favor. So maybe that's a good thing. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna have to agree with you on this one hard. Who gives a damn what Lil Wayne has to say? Like who gives a damn? He's shown several times that he's just disconnected, and I wouldn't take advice from him in any juncture. But Horace, what you got?
Well, I want to say two things. One, when I worked for H2 Entertainment, shout out to Don P. I had the luxury of working with Wayne and Cash Money Camp for a long time. And back then I was interested because it was hypocrisy back then. No matter what he rapped about, I came back and told people like he's nothing like that at all. I mean, at the time I met him, he was going to school. I think he was attending the University of Houston, working on his doctorate degree back then. So everybody was on one bus partying. He had a bus boy. He was by himself studying. He wasn't drinking. He wasn't pill pop. He wasn't none of that. So I don't know who he is now, but I do understand that a lot of times we seem to have a problem in America as African Americans with a term I like to call the illusion of inclusion. So when we start getting that money, we do feel like things don't really apply to us. And the first example of that was OJ. When OJ made a comment way back in the day, he said, "I'm not black, I'm OJ." Another example of that was Tiger Woods. I can't even think of the term that he used.
Malaysian.
Capricorn something, right?
Something, whatever.
Yeah. So a lot of times, man, and I had to slap myself. When you get certain kind of money and you get to get in those different rooms and you're around different people, if you ain't mentally strong or at least have some humility, it seems that you forget that you forget how they see you, because you're trying to be accepted by people that really don't care. And if you didn't have no money, they wouldn't even want you around them. But the other thing that bothers me is how we allow the media to dictate us and educate us. Me and Chris were talking about an article earlier and where it was clickbait. It said one thing and people shared it and everybody asked, no one actually read the dang article. Or when 9/11 happened and BET back in the day said, "Oh, 9/11, it's chaos. Let's go live to Soulja Boy." Like, what? Soulja Boy? Like, you can't.
I think Dave Chappelle had said something in a stand-up saying when they said, "Let's go live to Ja Rule." Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule got to say about it?
So, and believe it or not, you will have massive views, and I'm like, who the hell gives a damn about those people? So I still think we have to focus on really having a mind of your own. In the back end of the show, this won't have the election. I want to talk about an article I shared today with a guy who's getting fired here locally in regards to some comments he made. But it seems like we don't have a mind of our own. It's like the media is telling us what to be outraged about. But I will say in this situation with Lil Wayne, I can't understand that one. That's like some real coon type stuff, and I don't use that term at all. But I do want to ask you guys a question, and you didn't get a really chance to prepare for it. I said I want to interview you guys tonight. As black men, you guys are professional. We've evolved from youngsters. And I'll say this, with America, since the Obama years, we have seen this thing from Trayvon Martin progress with the police shootings where they have escalated and escalated. And we sit here believing in democracy, asking for justice. We do everything right. You know, you protest and you boycott, and it continues to happen. And then, you know, where we're void of democracy. But then you'll have election time come and everyone put the pressure on the black voters to say, you can't, we need you to vote. We need you to vote. We need you to vote. You know, help us support democracy. But we don't get democracy. But where's our democracy? You know, like we got to stop allowing that. But my question to y'all was, do you believe in democracy as an African American? As a black in this country, do you believe in democracy? Chris, what you think?
Well, first I want to give a shout out to our other member that's he was sick today. He couldn't be with us, so I want to give a shout out to Zay. Hope you get well soon, my brother. I don't want to drag it out like you a little bitch. You'll probably be able to shake it off. But first off, I want to say that we have to have a definition of democracy. That's what we don't. I don't think we understand what democracy is. Democracy is where basically the majority rules. So the democracy is like the rule of man. All right. The first time we ever got introduced to democracy was ancient Greece. Ancient Greece, where they would have a plan. I mean, they would have a law. They'll bring it up to vote. The country would vote on it, and then that would be how they would pass the law. What we confuse as a democracy in this country, we have a republic. A republic is where we elect people to vote in our special interest, and that's basically what we have here. And the founding fathers of this country, to be honest with you, they didn't believe that democracy was a good idea. They believed that it was more. It's more of a mob mentality instead of actually, you know, a great way of government. So that's why you say that's why the republic is in the Constitution and not democracy. It's not said in the Constitution. So again, we have to understand that we are in a republic and not a democracy. It's not just the majority rules. So we have to understand that in this republic, the problem with democracy, or in this form of democracy, is it's not evenly represented. What you're seeing a lot of is a certain type of people voting all the time or getting to make these rules, and that's normally older white men. The country doesn't reflect older white men. This country is a melting pot. This country has a lot of diversity into it, and I think that our democracy should represent the way this country is. We as black people, we make up 13%, and we don't have 13% of anything in any type of way. So I think that's the one thing that we need to look out for. So as an African American, absolutely not. I do not believe that. I don't believe in the democracy in this country. I don't believe that this country is ruled by democracy. I think that this country is an illusion of democracy, an illusion of freedom. But as of right now, this is the best. This is the only, I should say, system of government that we have. So, but no, to answer your question, no. Horace, what you got? What you think?
Well, I have a lot to say about it. I want to go to a few things. One, like I said before in the last comment, is I get angered when it's portrayed to us like, hey, we need y'all vote, you know, protect our democracy, protect our way of living. And I just get mad that nobody pays any attention to us until it's election time. Like Trayvon, like we can go down the whole list of things about, you know, injustices in this country. I always say, is it justice or just us? But to your point, Chris, the Pledge of Allegiance is indoctrination. We have to say it. They make you remember it, and it's to the republic for which it stands.
To the republic for which it
To
stands.
the republic,
not
for
the
which it
democracy.
stands. To the republic, and I just always used to say the republic, and we've had debates about that. When this country was created, it was created with the idea that we would be less than, second class, you know, and so democracy. Do I think we will get democracy? I think we will when America meets its season finale, and I think we're there. I think we've been on this collision course for a long time, and I think to its point that stuff happens in America, Black people cry out. It's not until it happens to other people that it becomes a real problem. And for once, you got people on from different groups, enough people in each group to say, yeah, Black Lives Matter is not enough. We need change. We tired of racism. We tired of poverty. We tired of inequality. So I think for once, we get to a point where America has to fix itself or America will fall. And America is falling apart. So do I think democracy, we will get it? I think America is going to crumble before that happens. I always say, me personally, I don't support Black Lives Matter, the group or the organization. What I did support is Black lives, all these lives actually coming out in solidarity during these protests, to see the young, see the millennials, to see all these age groups taken to the streets and making their voice heard. I thought that is the thing that made us say, okay, America might be finally tired of the BS on every level. Mario.
All right. So when I first listened to this, I did something like what Chris did. I understood. I wanted to say, what does democracy mean? And I got a deeper understanding of what democracy means. And I understood, like, when did that word even come to play into our knowing as the United States of America to use the word democracy. Then I seen that before people was using the word republic until they got in, until they understood that at some point away, people had to feel inclusive into the building of this new nation. So America, for one, was built to be a very little democracy. It was supposed to be a part that the people vote for, and the other part, the very wealthiest people legislate, and they put in the rules, and then you vote on what they have to say. So it can be looking like so it can look like that the people are a part of putting together this new nation, which never played into, because in that point of time we were slaves. So when all this was being created, of course, even democracy that they was giving us, it was meant to be for white men at all, not white women, not black men, not black women, just white men, just rich white men. Because not even the lower class of white men had a say so back then, because they was looked at as help or less than too, just not less than us. So democracy, the word, does work for the people it was intended to work for. The rich people, the rich, wealthy white men in this country. If you ask one of those people, they'll tell you democracy is the best thing since sliced bread. So democracy works, but for a black man, it works exactly the way they intended it to work, not for us. So the same voice we had then, it's the same voice we have now. It's an illusion. And that's when I think I seen somebody say that you have to understand the system to really understand democracy. And I understand that too. So you understand the only way you can have a voice in democracy being put is to have money. And I hear Horace a bunch of times saying, and Chris said to catch the phrase, without money, some kind of way, representation or whatever. He had said it on the last show, but it's true. Without no money, you don't have no voice. So to be sitting at the table right now, black people was to form some kind of alliance and be worth, and our voice be worth something, then democracy could work for us. But right now, we're not worth nothing because we don't have no money. And nobody cares about what we say or our vote or anything like that, really. So this is all just a shamble and just an illusion to me. So I don't think democracy will ever work for black people, because we're not going to follow the proper steps it's going to take to force them to let us in to that higher percent that it does really work for.
Listen, I want to ask y'all a question on top of that. This election, I mean, every election is the election of our lives. in every election, we fighting over two Caucasian men over 65, 70, right? You know what I mean? So when we think we have a choice, we really don't. When Biden got in the game, I said that was the Democrat, the old establishment protecting they investment, they control of the little bit that they do have, because you had people like Bernie Sanders who, controversial, be honest, Hillary lost because a lot of people felt like that was the choice they wanted to make. But why is it that you had Kanye come out and said, "Oh, I'm going to run for president," and he got all of this publicity and validation, right? But you had a real African American woman that went through the whole checklist, went through everything, and who was an official candidate for the election and has a small following, and you never heard of her. She ain't been on no TV. The Breakfast Club was the only one that gave her a voice, and a lot of people was mad because they say, how is it that you got a real black woman, especially in this feminist movement, that didn't get any coverage? The media made sure that you didn't hear about it. And I explained to somebody, like, the same people that's the billionaires, the Koch and all them, they own the media stations. They control what you see. They actually own it. So for people to think that the news is going to put out good stories and fair stories, no, it is actually programming. And the thing that I had a problem with, the rant, is I felt like Biden could have picked a lot of VPs that to me would have ensured his victory from Black America. People said no because they picked Kamala for a reason, because she can get that on the line vote. You know what I mean? She's married to a Caucasian guy. She has mixed kids. She honestly didn't even represent as Black on her own paperwork. You know what I mean? Like, she's registered.
She has white stepkids.
Yeah. Oh, really? She don't have kids?
No, those are his kids.
Oh, okay. So listen, but we had Abrams, who was one of the top candidates, politicians out there. You had Bottoms. You had various Black women. I just felt like would have been a great contender, and I was like, do they really want some real Black representation to ever have a chance of reaching the White House? What did you guys think about, even when it came down to the VP picks? Because I know Trump is bad, but the person I fear the most in this whole country, besides Mitch McConnell, is Mike Pence. You know what I mean? Who is that old time Christian, where I'm Christian, but I can watch a good hanging on Sunday. He come from that era. But what did y'all think about the VP picks and how those debates went? Mario.
Well, I think Pence is who the Republicans stand for. I think Pence is who is the prototypical Republican guy. I think that's normally what I'm used to seeing from the Republican Party. So I think Pence was like head on. I think Donald Trump was an outlier. He can rule the crowd and get the public uproar. And I think they had to shake things up because Obama came in with a force to be reckoned with, because they couldn't see that coming. His way of delivering words and speeches is unmatched. So he had a way of just controlling the crowd and moving the masses. So I think when Trump came in, they had to say I have to have somebody as charismatic as him and the polar opposite of him, so I can grab other votes from the other side and obtain our assured victory. But then we had to have somebody who really understands politics, who really understands the world, business of being a politician. So they got Pence. I think Kamala is exactly what you said. She's not too Black. She's not too white. She's right there. She's a woman in a feminist society right now. She's a Black woman. Then she's married to a white man and raising white children. And she's put away a lot of Black men, but then she's an AKA. Like, she plays the line of 1-1-1-1 perfectly. Mm-hmm. She does that better than Barack Obama did. And I think that's just a perfect thing. Yet we also know that she's more qualified than Joe. So I think absolutely. Joe is the safe bet too, because one thing he has, no matter what you say about the crime bill, is the Black people's savior in our eyes, in their eyes, even in the white people's eyes, is Barack Obama. And Barack chose who? Joe. So no matter what you say bad about Joe, they gonna always say Barack Obama, the Black Jesus, chose him. So he has to have something good. So then who does he choose? a black woman in the society when they say it's not ready for a woman to be a president, not woman, who you go get? A black woman. To me, that was the right now in this chess game of politics, both sides are doing what they need to do to make sure they win the game. And I think it was great. I think until they seen that they didn't have a strong enough candidate to beat to pick over Joe, they had to say, how can we mix this up? We want Kamala, but Kamala they won't vote for over Trump. It's just too easy to vote for Trump over Kamala. Because one thing people hate more than black people is a woman. Like those racist white men don't want women in power just as much as they don't want a black man in power. So now you put a second fiddle. So even the white women, the lesbians, the face, they can say, well, at least a woman is there some kind of way. I think it was a perfect pick on both sides, if you ask me. What you think, Chris?
Well, first I want to. Horace said something in his delivery. He said that there was other candidates for vice president that he thought would be better. I would love to hear those candidates that he was saying. But as far as Kamala, I've been consistent on this. I want to be positive. I want to be. I hope. My hope is that. Because I've seen different interviews with her. My hope is that she has our best interest in mind. I understand that the history on her and everything like that, but I would love to think that she has our best history. I mean, our best interest in mind in that if elected. I'm not sure if that would be, but I'm optimistic about. Hopefully, this is what she wants for us. I've heard different interviews where she speak up on a lot of different issues that she say that she's going to be she's going to try to implement. Me and Horace went back and forth in the group text about it. He's disagreed, and I wanted to get his information on why he felt that way. Again, I've been consistent on this. I want to be positive about Kamala Harris, and this is biased simply because I'm a father of a black daughter, and I would love for this to be a great representation for her because her first president was Barack Obama, and I think that it would be important for her. It would be good for her to see a black woman at that type of level. So I want to stay consistent on that about me being positive about that. As far as the debates, I honestly think that Pence did exactly what white men and for the most part a lot of us men do. We talk over women and not actually let them hear what they got to say. Now I'm not on my soapbox trying to talk bad about I'm trying to talk down about men or whatever, but I'm just stating the truth. Also, but I think that man is trying to win, and if you're not in this game to try to win, then you shouldn't be in this game. I think that Kamala turned it down a whole lot during those those debates, and I think that was a wrong decision. Probably because she's trying to not come off as the angry black woman, whatever the case may be. But you cannot fear that. You have to get your point across. These people are playing a game to win, not to be fair, not to give everybody a chance. You could tell that from the presidential debates. Trump kept on interrupting Biden. They're not playing the game to be fair. They're playing the game to win. I think that's one thing that we need. That she should. I wish she would have took advantage of a lot more because I've had different conversations with black women, and it is definitely not an easy thing to get words out. It's definitely not an easy thing to not hear a lot of rebuttal and all that stuff. So I was let down by that. But yeah, back to my original question, Horace. Who was those selections that you think would have been better suited?
Well, to be honest, you had real African American representation. You had Stacey Abrams, who was one of the sharpest sisters in politics. I personally thought he might have went with Bottoms because she could have pulled some millennial votes. Another sorority sister, I think it's Val Demings from Florida. So you had some real sisters that's frontline, not old, not nothing against Maxine Waters, but you had some sisters in there where you you had some real African American representation who, you know, hell, if Michelle Obama ran for office, this wouldn't even be an election. You know what I mean? I just feel like this election is more anti-Trump. It's not pro-Biden. It's anti-Trump. So everybody keeps knowing we're still getting evil. But I'm saying after it's all said and done, what are we getting? Like that was the question I was originally going to ask you guys. Like, because and before I go to that point, Chris, Kamala, and we're being fair in this conversation, her major donors, because of her job and locking up people, a lot of her donation, all that stuff came from the private prison system, right? And to be fair, a lot of people actually like the private prison system in comparison to state-ran systems. You know what I mean? So it's very profitable. It's on the stock market.
And you get most of it.
So you telling me, and this goes to Joe, this goes to Kamala, you have been in office for decades. So I can't blame them for saying whatever, because some of the stuff they're not going to do because it goes against their fundraisers. And second, you could say anything because right now, if they win, you still got a Republican Congress. And what's the chances of anything getting passed? They can come back and say, we tried, but you know, we couldn't get it passed. So it don't mean anything for me to say we're going to do those things because it's not going to pass. And at the end of the day, my major backers are the people that you're telling me to finally challenge. It sounds good. So that's why I was asking originally, what changes for us, African Americans, Black America, if Biden wins? Do we lay down and say, okay, they're in office and say, you know, they're going to take on this fight? When in reality, we still got work to do. So what happens if Joe Biden wins? In y'all mind, what happens, Chris?
Well, I think, honestly, nothing happens. But I think that that's more important about me saying nothing happens. Because what I think that's going to happen if Biden wins, you're going to get political gridlock. You know, you ever know, Hardy knows about this, and I do too, because all of us spent time in Atlanta. That traffic, if something happens to that traffic on the highway, you're gonna be in a standstill for hours, and that's what I think. That's what I compare Joe Biden winning to political gridlock. We get names like the Proud Boys and Tifa and KKK, and you know, they use those words to fear us. But I mean, they strike fear in us. But if Biden wins, the Republican Party is going to strike down terror on us. They will never let anything pass. There will be political gridlock. They're gonna punish this country for voting Biden in. The Senate is majority Republican. They will not let anything pass. Now you got 2 years for things that just going to be gridlock. Nothing is going to happen until it's time for us to go back to the polls again. And if we don't have the same energy that we have now, which normally we have this energy during presidential elections, in 2 years, if we don't go back and vote, then they're going to get Congress. And now you got a Democratic president, Republican Senate, and a Congress that's Republican. Joe Biden is don't stand a chance. And then after 4 years, we're going to be looking at a candidate that is basically unhireable again. Because if you can't get anything done in 4 years, they're going to blame you for not being able to get anything done in 4 years. You're not going to be able to be worthy of another 4 years, which is going to now usher in whoever Trump's co-signs. That's the problem that we need to pay attention to. Whether Trump wins or whether Trump loses, whoever he co-signs next, that's going to be somebody that we really should pay attention to. Again, so I don't think anything is going to change, and I think that's the problem, because absolutely nothing is going to happen for basically 4 years if Biden gets in, because the Republicans are not going to let that go down. But what you got, DeMario?
Before I go to Mario, I want to say something that bothered me the other day in this modern day. The other day, and Marco Rubio said some comments. It was a Biden bus going down the highway. We all seen the comments. We all seen the video, and the Trump supporters ran they ran the bus down. They ran it off the road, and just seeing them how they're going around the communities with these rallies, I must say it does look like a modern day. Back in the days, you see footage of the Klan riding. I think that is what it symbolizes in some sorts. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Mario.
No, that's a great piggyback to what is gonna change. That's my point right there. See, I don't believe either one of these candidates. I never do, because I don't believe in democracy. I just told you that. So I don't believe that Joe or Trump is gonna get in there. I don't care who run the Senate. I don't care who run the House. I'm telling you the truth. Because right now, if I use Chris premises, that means that, because I agree with him, that if Joe Biden gets in, that they're gonna lock up every law. So if Trump get in, what happens? They're gonna pass every bad law. So which one has
a greater chance?
So which one is better, for them to sit there and argue 4 years and it stay how it is, or for them to put me deeper in a hole by letting Trump and the Republicans just run amok on me for another 4 years? So that's one way of looking at it. The two thing is, I don't believe that those laws, just me, just talking, really affect us as much as we think. I'm talking about our day-to-day living. So then I say, what does affect our day-to-day living? Racism at a high tone. So one thing Trump does, I was just talking to y'all about this, is this. He gives a voice and a prudence to the most racist groups of people in America. He gives them the balls and the galls to go out and say, hey, my commander-in-chief says he stands with me. So I can look at these people and be as racist and blatant as I can with nothing to say. That's what Trump does, period. So if no law change, if no help come to us black people, because I don't believe we need help, but if all that doesn't change, one thing doesn't change, is just like anything else. You kill the head, I'm not saying the body gonna die, but it'll simmer down. Because right now, I don't believe Trump created racist people. I don't believe it. I don't believe Trump. But one thing I believe he gave them to do is, if you have let me say this. If you have 10 racist people, out of those 10, you have 3 of those people who don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. They will walk up to black, Spanish, white, and they'll tell you how they feel about you. Those are the people who are going to be who they are. But then you got 5 of those people who are racist, but they don't want to be looked at as being racist. So they're ashamed of it. So they get in their little country clubs and everything. Then they say all their remarks. Then you got the other 2 people who, I'm racist, but I don't know why. I just want us to win more than them. So what Trump did is, he said, hey, I'm going to empower those 3 people to put pressure on those 7 people. So now those 5 people who talk about it in the country clubs and on the golf course, they go join those 3 people. Now it's 8-2. So now you got way more Karens who feel empowered. Now you got, and that's the world I don't want my children to grow up in. We're talking about children. That's what I don't want to see. See, I can teach my children how to financially make it, how to beat the system, how to sell houses, what I learned. I can teach them this, but I can't control their anger and all the racists they're going to go up in. I'm seeing stuff that my great grandma told me about now on TV. The way what Tootie saying is right. That when I look back in the 70s and the 60s, what I'm seeing on TV is now. There's no way I want my children to go that. See, I had a luxury of growing up in the time where I didn't fear white people. I'm just speaking candidly. I didn't fear them. I felt like it is what it is. You say something to me, I'm gonna say something, and it's whatever. And I would dare to say, I felt like I was the aggressor most of the time. I felt like black people were the feared ones. But if they keep, because the America they're talking about they want to make great again is when we feared them and walked on our tippy toes and was scared. The America that had a white water fountain and a black water fountain. So if nothing else changed on policies and it gets gridlock, one thing won't change is you won't have a president stand up there saying, good job, fellas, keep throwing bricks at their house. If anybody don't say they like me, go burn their cars. if anybody don't say me, just stand by and wait. Because if I don't win this race, we're gonna tear this up. That's the kind of person can't be the commander in chief just off of rhetoric of this country. Because I don't believe, once again, I don't believe neither one of those people are telling me the truth. I don't believe Biden and I don't believe Trump. But one person refuses to denounce racism and stands behind them any cost. That's his people. He's shown us that. I don't have to guess this. I wouldn't denounce y'all because I love y'all. Y'all are my people. No, what y'all? That's who y'all are to me. Trump has showed me he has some super friends, but they're just not black. What do you have, Tootie?
Yeah, well, that's a lot, Mario, but it was right on point. This is what's going to happen. Right now, the election is tomorrow night to Sunday. I mean, to the day after. I don't know what to expect, right?
Right.
And let me give you some highlights. If the Republicans win, Democrats get outraged after Bush stole the election, allegedly, whatever, and the ballots and all that stuff. They went ahead and they swarm in. He the new president. Democrats was like, oh, we're going to file this and we're going to file this and we're going to do that. Republicans do what they want to do. Right. When Democrats in power, they try to do the democracy thing. Oh, we're going to file and we're going to go to the Senate and we're going to do all those things. Every election that the Republicans lose, like last year with Hillary, she won the popular vote, but lost the electoral college. This is my problem. No one ever tackles things until it's election time. I've been saying for like 16 years, the electoral college is never discussed. Why do we even have the electoral college? Most people don't understand it. They don't know that it was based on slavery and representation through the states. And even through that, I don't think it's right on point because Florida has 29 electoral votes. Pennsylvania, little old Pennsylvania, has 20 votes. Texas has 38. You know what I mean? So this election, I have a feeling that Biden could win the popular vote and Trump will win the electoral college because electoral college, the election also is a race to get to the number first. So there's a lot of stuff that we don't even know. So tonight inside one of our meetings we had with the fellas, we had a good debate. And people are like, oh, it's a landslide. Biden's winning by a landslide. I'm like, guys, don't count them out. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people I talk to personally that's like, I can't deal with Biden. I know Trump. And like I've always said, people trust the devil they know, right? You're going to be surprised what people do inside those booths.
All right.
You don't know who voting for because in Florida is Republican. We said again, in Broward, I seen a rally where it was Asians for Trump. Most Cubans and Spanish identify as white. They vote Republican. Yeah. So it's not going to be what people think. You can be hopeful, but have you guys ever analyzed or questioned the Electoral College and how it impacts us? Do you guys have any insight, Chris?
Yeah. I want to give a brief education on the Electoral College. The Electoral College is a group of representatives that we select to pick the vice president, the president and the vice president. The Electoral College has 538 electors. That's total membership of Congress, which is 435 representatives, 100 senators, and 3 electors from the Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. The reason why that is important because all you actually need in electoral college is 270 electoral votes. Electoral votes are defined by population. So the greater your population of your state, the more electoral votes you get. Like for instance, California is a 55. You said Florida is 29.
Right.
Texas 38. So
right.
these states are very, very important when it comes to electoral college. The problem with that, because it's a yin and a yang, it's a good and a bad with that, is those states that has the most electoral college points, basically, are because of its population, are mostly populated, has a large population of black people. So what happens is yes, we get a lot of popular votes. We go out and vote, but if we're in Texas, New York, and Florida, and Pennsylvania, and things like that, we're only gonna get that amount of electoral points. So that's when people say that our vote doesn't matter. That's what they're basically talking about. I hope that that's what they're talking about. I hope it's because they have an understanding of the electoral college. Like you were saying, Horace, you can win the popular vote and still lose the electoral college, because what the electoral college does is it makes it hard for you to dismiss small towns, because you got places like Alaska that has electoral votes, but they don't have a lot of population. The Dakotas, Wyoming, and things like that. So in close races, the races that's not a landslide, you need to focus on those small states, and those small states normally go for the Republican because of their low population and their majority are white. So that's something that we have to pay attention to with the electoral college. It has some goods. The goods of it is it makes it so you cannot ignore small states, but it's bad because it drowns out the population of the black vote, simply because we are mostly in the South and we are mostly in large metropolitan states. So it kind of drowns out our vote. And the little known fact about the electoral college is the people can vote one way, and their representatives still have the ability to say, nah, I don't want to vote that. Now, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often at all, but they actually do have the power to not even take the popular vote and still vote the way they want to vote. And again, that brings us back to democracy, the democracy versus the republic argument. Democracy is the rule of man. That's basically rule of population. The republic is basically where you select people to make decisions for you, and that's what we got. That's what we have to get understanding on. Electoral college. I see Dr. Hughes say that it's rooted in racism. I would have to agree, but we need to actually educate ourselves on the electoral college. Mario, what you got?
Well, I think the electoral college is a failed place plan for the fake democracy we were talking about from the first beginning. Because if you understand what the electoral college is, you understand it's the total opposite of what it demeans everything in a democracy. If a democracy is the majority of the people vote for who they want to be their leader, then why would you need an electoral college? The only reason why you would need an electoral college is because the people might want this president, but for the country, as they see it, that 1% or the higher percent say, we don't want this president. So they tell the electoral college to vote this person in, and then that's what it is. So then everybody went out to the polls, everybody vote, everybody did they justice, they did what they was supposed to do, they civic duty. They went out and voted, and they chose exactly who we wanted to lead us. And then you telling me you can get together and have a bunch of people get together and say, you know what? Because they vote after us and say, you know what? I don't want to vote the way my state did. Because we, as a people, because all these people are in that higher percentage of people who run everything anyway, saying, we don't give a damn about Hillary. We want Donald. And as we've seen it before, you can win the popular vote, Hillary, and then Donald still wins. So to me, the electoral college shouldn't even be a thing anymore. Because right now, a lot of stuff was told us back in the days when, and a lot of these laws were set when it was scholars and it was workers. So the scholars told the workers, this is what this meant, and they had to go. Because most of those people were just working to get ends meet. They didn't understand about reading. They didn't have the internet. But now we have all these viable ways of educating ourselves, yet we still do not. So right now, I agree with Horace. No matter who the president should be, our main concern should be getting rid of electoral college, and then we'll be closer to a form of a democracy. But until that happens, that's why I still don't believe that it could ever be a democracy, because if any point in time, no matter what we say, they have the last say. So if you ask me, how does the electoral college play a role, or what is it, or how does it affect us? It's because it's their safe proof plan. That's what it is. If all else fails, hey y'all, we need him in, and that's what happens.
You know, when we had the controversy in Florida with the ballots, and you had Bush versus Gore,
Yeah.
you know, you actually did have that scenario where they didn't know where the electors were going to cast their official votes, because we have an election. I believe it's 30 days later. I forgot what day it is. That's when the election is official. That's when the electors, because the Electoral College actually has the 29 votes, are actually 29 people, and they go and make it official. And you actually had a case where the electors were split, and they didn't know who was going to actually make it official as far as the votes when you had the Bush Gore situation. I don't know if y'all remember that. Chris, you had something?
No.
Oh, so what's y'all election day predictions right now?
For me, I'm a man of history, or I just look at things plainly. I find that it's hilarious. It's almost comical that we think the quality of a president matters in his reelection. My first president was Ronald Reagan, right? Ronald Reagan was an actor. A lot of people didn't think Ronald Reagan was qualified for the job, and he got 8 years. Next was Bush. He got 1 year. I mean, he got one term. He was old. Clinton. I totally would have believed that Clinton would have got two terms if it wasn't for that blowjob in the Oval Office. But you're just being nitpicky. Then you got, huh? No, he got impeached. He got impeached for the blowjob.
That means nothing.
Yeah, but he still got elected. He said he got elected for a second term, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was impeached, but what's on top?
Then you got George Bush Senior. Then you got George Bush Jr. Now, before Trump, this was the worst president ever. We blame COVID deaths on Trump. They blame 9/11 on George Bush Jr. I mean, the second. So the worst president I've seen them talk bad about a president before, and it was George W. Bush. He got 8 years. Let's go to Obama. The same people that supports Trump, you couldn't tell them nothing good about Obama. They thought Obama was the worst president ever. 8 years. So to think that the quality of president you are, it matters on whether you get 8 years or get another term, is comical to me. I truly believe, not that I voted myself and I did not vote this way, but I truly believe that Donald Trump will get 8 years, because I've seen the majority of the presidents that I've seen since I've been alive, that's from Reagan all the way to now, but the majority of them have gotten 8 years. And it didn't matter that they was bad presidents. It didn't matter that everybody thought that they was bad. They still got 8 years. So for me personally, whether I want it or not, I didn't vote this way myself. But if you ask me my prediction, I think Trump is going to get another 8 years. Because Biden himself, to think that, okay, let's just say Biden was to win, right? Biden is not an 8 year president. So we're going to go back to, in 4 years, we're going back to the drawing board. Trump is going to endorse a candidate, and he's going to beat Joe Biden. That's just the truth. That's my prediction. What you got, Mario?
Well, I think Trump gonna win. Let's say that. So just start off by saying that. But first I didn't, because I look at how I think it's deeper than what we think. I think about it's how Trump is perceived amongst the world. Because at the end of the day, that's who the United States is doing business with, the world. We're just occupants. Right now, we it's like we are workers, but the heads of companies talk amongst each other. And then the workers complain about the company. That's normally how it works. Right now in the USA, we're the workers. So we complain about the USA, but we just working. That's what we do. But the owner is what keeps the business afloat. So if your owner is looked at as a shady or a nasty businessman, you are just casualties of who your owner is, because that's who made the business, that's who runs the business. So that's how the United States is to me. So I look at how do other people look at Trump, and I thought about what other people. So let's just think about the other powerhouses in the world. My boy, in North Korea, China, and Russia. Well, let's look at how they look at Trump. They like him. So at the end of the day, most of the wealth is going through those countries right there. So when I had to say, if we want civil unrest, when you talk about the Democrat, you talking about the House and the Senate and the Congress, let's talk about real stuff. If Biden get in, now we're gonna have people who don't respect our president or respect the United States because they understand who Biden is. The world knows who Biden is. Trump is a wild card. You never really know what you're gonna get with him. But one thing you do know is he's prideful and he's not afraid of war. So at some point, they see themselves in him. Like Shingo, they all sit around the table. Like they say, two gangsters cannot, the head of the Bloods and the head of the Crips can see each other and say, I respect each other. We both killers. We both don't like each other, but I know who you are because I am you and you are me. With Biden, they go back to the point of, I think America's weak right now. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can push. So I think for the safety of us, how the world look right now, the electoral college is not going to let Biden be it. It'll be great, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think right now, not to be all over the place, I think that Trump right now, in the world's view, is who America is and who America has to be in these times. So like Chris said, it's already been proven that no matter how bad he is, that doesn't matter because we've seen bad people that we say, I can't believe he's going to win again, and he does.
8 years.
So Obama, we just knew we was only going to get, when Obama first got elected, I thought he was going to get 4 years, and they wasn't going to let a black man get 8. Black man gets 8. So right now, I believe Trump knows he's going to get 4 more, and then we'll see where we go from here. How you feel, Judy?
Well, I honestly have predicted it. I got told off tonight, and I was like, listen, two things. One, I think it's going to win because a lot of people that I talked to personally was like, I just can't mess with Biden. Same scenario with Hillary. They were like, a lot of people feel like it ain't that bad. A lot of people, COVID wasn't an issue for them. Second of all, Republicans are gangsters. Guess what? They got all kind of plans laid out. And then even with the ballots, remember they were pulling up mailboxes. They are gangsters. They will remain in power. The Mitch McConnells, you asking people to have this moral compass. No, man, this is business. This is gangsterism. So if people are outraged because they stole the election, it might just happen. We've had machines. We'll spend money on a new aircraft carrier, but the voter machines that you vote on have Windows XP. You know what I mean? So how serious do they value our election? Well, I could slide my vote in and it switches to a vote for somebody else. They can be manipulated. They can be rigged. When you had the last election, people riding around with voting machines and they Trump. So I think one way or another, the Republicans will remain in power. The Republicans don't love Trump. But guess what? Through him, it's a green light to get a lot of economic things passed. And a lot of rich people keep their money. And the fear is Democrats get in. Now you're going to take my money and give it to welfare, even though America gives welfare to other countries every day. The money we give to Israel and all these other countries daily is nothing. But the uneducated people, like, Trump is going to tax us. Biden is going to tax us, which has some validity, but the fear mongering, no one educates themselves. And I have said from Key, this is the person that I have learned a lot. My best friend, one of my friends, he went to Howard. It ain't the best school in the world, but he taught me a lot about politics. And, he's kind of like Obama with the constitutional educationists. The real battle is the Senate. And in Riviera Beach, we have a mayor, good mayor, awesome mayor. And he brings in opportunities and he does a lot, but he doesn't have a vote. In reality, most things that come to the city has to be voted on by the city council. It's no different than the president. The president has some power and he can do some things, but most stuff is coming through the Senate. The Senate has been Republican so long, that is where the battle is. So when they said when Obama won, he won, and we see all the time, Mitch McConnell looked in the camera and said, nothing's going to pass. And that's what happened. So how is it going to be different if Biden gets in and you got a Senate that says ain't nothing going to pass? So who wins? We're already underprivileged. We already have economic struggles. So how do we win if we don't have control? We can't officially put anything into place. So I think Trump will win. I think you're going to have some riots and some chaos for a couple of days, maybe a week or two.
See, I don't. I think I agree with you 100% on what you said about the gangster part. I was just talking to somebody about that day, and I said that's the point. The Republican that division of the Republicans are willing to do whatever it takes about what they believe. If that's mean come to your door, knock on it, and slap you because you got a Black Lives Matter, they wouldn't do that. But I don't see Black Lives Matter people going door to door snatching Trump signs out and slapping people. So it lets you know until you are willing to meet force with force, then we're gonna always be on the end asking, why doesn't it work? I wish it would work. Please, can it work? And that's what is happening. They punch us, we pinch them. They punch us, we pinch them. So if you think that you can win a fight pinching somebody, then cool. Then I got my lick back. I guess that's okay. Moral victories win. But it's not. Because right now, when you look at the Republicans, they've shown us time and time again. I remember vividly that Gore on race in Florida. The world was laughing at Florida because they knew they stole it. This wasn't even that's what I'm saying. This is the craziest thing. But we've seen this before. Then the same thing. Everybody was like, yeah, Hillary won. No, shut up. Donald Trump won. How many times they got to show you? The Republicans going to do whatever it takes. I was in Atlanta when I stood in the rain for hours and hours amongst those voting boxes that Tootie was talking about. And I got in this foe. My daddy stays in Kennesaw. If you know anything about Georgia, that's the wealthy. It took him 10 minutes. They had 50 doggone boxes in a big old gymnasium spread out. DeKalb County is one of the biggest counties in Georgia. 4? Come on, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, what is going on here? I'm seeing it, so I choose to believe my eyes.
Listen, one of the things America's focused on before I go to Chris is breaking y'all's spirit. All right. So every election, this is what I don't like. If Trump wins this election, they're gonna say, "Oh, black people didn't vote. Oh, black people didn't show up to vote." When black people show up 86 to 92% all the time, right? I don't like that. Second of all, when it comes to our voting situation, I lost my thought right there. I hate that. Stop putting it on us and realize that the election goes further than people want to think. But I forgot my thought. Go ahead, Chris.
To kind of talk about what you was talking about, I'm hearing this new narrative, and I want to say this to you guys about, they're putting it on black men, about black men voting, and that we'll decide this election. That's funny to me because the Hillary and Trump the election, the majority of this country is women. That's just the majority. It was a woman candidate. How is it possible for him to win, especially when he was saying the things that he was saying about women as far as grabbing them by the, you know what? So that's something that we really have to look into. You can put it on us as black men, but where are the women? What are the women voting for? This year, you have Kamala as a candidate. The majority of this country is women. Women are and you know about the feminine movement going on. Is the feminine movement going to vote for a woman? Because that's the most important thing. Black men, whether we vote or not, statistically we vote Democrat. That's just the truth. Statistically, we vote Democrat. But we don't have a fight. We don't have a dog in this fight, honestly, because it's two white men. When we had a dog in the fight, a black man, we came out in droves and voted him in. I want to see what the women, black, white, Asian, Spanish, whatever it may be. I want to see if they're going to vote for women, because women didn't vote for Hillary, and I want to see if women going to vote for Kamala. That's what I want to see.
Let's be honest, and I've been this. It's fact. Check me.
Let's be honest. Yeah.
It was pretty catchy, wasn't it? White women have been the deciding factor in all these elections. White women voted for Obama and got him over the edge. Back to my point about breaking your spirit. When we protest and we do all this stuff because we want justice for Breonna Taylor, we want it for George Floyd, we want all that, and we don't get it, it is to break our spirit. So when all of this, I'm seeing chicks doing the strolling and AKA and all that to the polls, and Trump wins again, people are going to be what? It don't matter. They give up. Every intention is to break that spirit. Anytime you have a movement or you have some uprising, we need to break that, because in America, to be honest, if America ever realized their power as a people collectively, America don't have a chance. America survives on all of us conforming to rules, regulations, policies, and laws. But if we ever say F that, there's not enough. There's no way that it can keep order in this country if America citizens collectively said we've had enough. You see it in every other country where they had these uprisings, except America, because most people don't want to give up their way of life or their comfort. You know what I mean? So last question for you guys. Post-day election, I don't know if we covered it or not. What's post-day? What does it look like a day after the election? You guys don't believe it's going to be no chaos? You think it's just going to be status quo day in America, Mario?
No, I think that if Biden win, I think it's going to be select divisions in America that should get ready, because I believe, just like everybody should see, that 3% I was telling you about, that 10% of those real rednecks who don't see it are gonna go do what they feel like they should do to protect their democracy, and that's get and cause fear, because they're gonna be angry because they're scared that it's gonna go back to the America that they don't want it to be. I think that's gonna be a very small percentage though. And I think they're going to wreak havoc, and I think nothing's going to come from it but us marching, tearing up some more stores, and getting on a bunch of news stations and complaining about how they're doing us. I think that as a majority, black people talk a lot of crap, but we're not really doing nothing but marching, breaking up stores, and then not hitting them. I want to see the day when we stop pinching and when they start punching. So I think if Trump wins, it's going to be Trump flags and parades going down the streets in every state. They're going to be celebrating that their leader has 4 more years, and the Karens and everything else and all the Trump supporters are going to be in the streets partying like he just won a championship. That's the difference. But I don't think the other, just like they're going to cause havoc a little bit when he lose and celebrate when he win. And we're going to just do the because I don't think we're going to celebrate Joe as a people. We're going to be celebrating that Trump gone. We're not going to be celebrating Joe, because most people voting to get Trump out, not to put Joe in.
Right.
So I understand that point right there. But I don't think the day after is going to be, it depends on who wins. I think it's going to be some kind of effect though, no matter who wins. I just think it's going to be a worse effect if Trump do. If Trump don't.
Yeah, I want to say FYI to the listeners out there, this is the power of the media. Right now, you have downtown Indianapolis, you have New York City, you have Philly, you have DC, the White House. They're all boarding up. A lot of these cities are boarding up, prepared for civil unrest and chaos. Even locally in Riviera Beach, there have been drills going on in our community. We have an armory right on Silver Beach Road. So, they do have drills for this, for these kind of scenarios. There are so many codes and plans written for the day that civil unrest actually breaks out in America. So it's going to be interesting to see. And what do they know that all of these things are happening? You're not getting a lot of media attention telling you like, okay, around the country, they're boarding up. But you'll see the stories where they're showing Trump supporters going out and blocking stuff and acting the fool. So it's interesting that people don't understand.
Let me say one more thing before Chris go. Let me say, because this is not a fear mongering part. A lot of y'all might not know, but I hunt. And I deal with guns a lot. Like a lot. So just these last couple weekends, hunting season started. So you got to go get your sight on your rifle. So I've been in a lot of gun stores lately. Let me tell you this. The purchasing of bullets, sighting your guns, cleaning your guns, tactical vests, ammo, new guns is at an all-time high. I'm talking about all kind of stuff. I'm talking in the store because they assume if you do this kind of activity, this is the kind of black person you are. So they automatically assume that, oh, you one of us. So they speak candidly within moderation. And let's just say, while we are talking about what we're gonna do in marching and stuff like this,
right?
They are already at a whole. Now I'm not oblivious that a lot of black people have guns, and I'm not saying that we should be scared. I'm just saying be cognizant. To these next couple of days is not the day to be with your head in the cloud, oblivious to what's going on here in this world. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you to be prepared for anything that can happen. Because I know it's a lot of black women that watch our show. And I'm just telling you this. My wife is a black woman. She has recently got her gun oiled up. I tell her when she take my son just in case, because you just never know how people are. And they're going to pick on the weakest of us. And that is going to be black women, older black women, and black men of smaller stature who don't look intimidating. That's what they do. That's what cowards do of all costs. So just be mindful in that and understand that this not know what the CNN telling you. I'm telling you what I have just been witnessing the last 30 days of me going hunting, and you see droves of people who not buying hunting bullets. Go ahead.
Now, before I go to Chris, I just wanted to add that that's the point I was going to.
Yeah.
And when people talk, I was talking to some people who was blah, blah, blah. You're not ready for war in this country. We're not ready. Killer Mike was talking about this one day. We don't have the ability to grow food. Most people ain't got 2 days worth of groceries in their house. And, not giving out to information. The FEMA plan is if there was to be civil unrest right now, this is what you're going to prepare. All communication is down. Phones won't work. They cut power in the community. It is warfare. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think black people get it. I have a person that was telling when something happened, he's going to go home and dial with 911. And I was like, I can't even deal with somebody like that. Like you should be able, it's your Second Amendment right to protect yourself and your family. So, I don't think we really get it. We go out and buy toilet paper and do all the stuff that media tell. Like when they did the whole toilet paper thing, I'm like, just wash your ass. I mean, sorry, but just take toilet paper. Whoopie do. And people ran out and bought all the toilet paper in the world. I think you have a point that prepare yourself. Even after the election, you should have some supplies and stuff in your house for anything that might happen. I'm sorry about that, Chris. Go ahead.
Well, there was one song, No Limit from No Limit artist named Fiend. It says, "When we war for reason." I would hope that my brothers and sisters let those people war, and we don't. That has nothing to do with us because neither one of these candidates have anything for us personally. So for us to be out there going to war with other people in the name of Biden, that is the most ridiculous thing that you could possibly do. When I see these videos about the Biden and the Trump supporters clashing, a lot of those people be white. A lot of those people are not black people. I think that we should stay out of that situation completely because that doesn't apply to us. Neither one of these parties has anything specifically for us. Period. So don't get into that fight. Second, what I think that should happen is if Trump wins, the black people should really, again, maybe it takes the 100 million time to send a message to the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party, from what I see and what I've heard, they have a big emphasis on the LGBTQ community. They have a big focus on illegal immigrants. They have a big focus on a lot of things that's not specific black issues. So again, if the Democratic Party lose and we went out there and voted Democratic, we should honestly next 4 years or the next 2 years start to ask and require more from the Democratic Party that we continue to support. Don't go out there beefing with Trump supporters for Biden. Biden did not do anything for you, did not promise you anything, did not guarantee anything for you. Don't take your ass out there beefing with Trump supporters in the name of Biden. It makes no sense. Now, if he would have done something for you, I could kind of see. And from what I see, and he has his own army, Antifa. Let the Antifa, the Proud Boys, let the KK, let them go at that, and they let them deal with that, because we went through 4 years of Trump and we're still here. We went through George Bush, we are still here. We went through Bill Clinton with his crime bill. I mean, with his 10/20 life and his prisons for profit, which is something that we really need to talk about more. We went through that. We went through Reagan. We went through Nixon. We went through all. We have always survived. What we need to start focusing on after this election, let's start focusing on us. Let's start focusing on being our shoulder to cry, to lean on, our survival. Let's focus on us more than we focus on anything else. Like I say, the Asian community is one of the lowest has the lowest voter turnout. You know why? Because they depend on each other. Who gives a fuck what white man gets the presidency? Who gives a damn? Let's start focusing on inner community support from each other, and let's start reinforcing each other as a people. And then again, when this situation come back up again, let's make sure we demand more from a party that we have historically been supportive of. But I'm gonna say it again: don't take your ass out there fighting, trying to defend for Biden, and he ain't do shit for you.
Well, I got a question for y'all. So I think when people throw that around, I hear a lot of people say that. Not just Chris. This is a thing people say a lot. Well, you know, the Spanish people community, they get something. The Jewish community, they get something. The Japanese, the Asian people, they get something. But I think all them people have heritage, and they know who they are. Like, I think black people, we don't know who we are to even stand together. Like, we don't have no definitive, this who we are as a people, so let's stand on that. I think that's our biggest part as a people. You believe, some black people believe that Indians, some people believe they're the vendors of slavery. So they don't even feel like they castigate. Like, some black people just don't even feel like they black. Like, Asian people, they know they're Asian. Whether they voting for Trump or not, they say they're Asian. Right now, it's black people who will tell you, looking like me, like one of us, I'm not black. So as a people, that's what I'm saying. I don't even think we know who we are to be saying we need to come together as a group and start some kind of union. First, we got to find out who the hell we are, and then start from there, and then say, okay, this who we are. As black people, this who we are. That's why I love when Cube said, I have to quantify what we are. We are direct descendants of slaves. See, you have to stop saying black people, because black people can mean so much stuff, and so many people can detach themselves from that conversation when you say black people. So that's why you have to say, what black people are you talking about that you want this bill to affect? What black people are you talking about? So that when the other black people say crooked stuff or crazy stuff, oh, they not us. They don't apply to us. We talking about these people. I think that's what we got to start.
Mario, I want to speak to that, and I'm going to ask you a question. This is my opinion, and I'll stand on it. Horace Towns has said this constantly again. America's a monopoly board, right? And until you own a home, you're not even on a monopoly board in America, right? Why is that? You named the Asians. The Asians have economic value.
Right.
All these initiatives have economic value that contribute to the long haul of America. You have these people that are business owners, homeowners. You know what I mean? So they have economic value on this monopoly board called America. Why don't blacks get that same respect? because we have turned from producers where we used to own businesses during segregation and we were farmers and we had home ownership to being consumers. What do we do now? Even we make some money, we go out there and floss it. We go out and buy designer stuff. We buy Cadillacs. We buy a lot of stuff, but we won't open up businesses. We're not going to go out there and do anything that's going to add to the economic blueprint in America. A lot of people will get money and just live the lifestyle. I see too many people living this Instagram life, but they have not established. We did that. Y'all guys are business owners. You guys understand what that's the club that makes the difference to America. You guys are business owner, homeowners. You're in a club. You are a part of America in that instance. So throw all that black and white out the window. Is an economic club, and they're stockholders. And blacks with their $1 trillion and spending money that we just give away freely have yet to collectively make that a power. Who did that? The LGBT community. When they wanted to get their stuff, they organized and they start collecting. And next thing I know, oh, now Democrat Republicans gotta respect them because they represent votes and money that's going to go into political parties at the end of the year. So they get more respect than us because we still over there being the consumers and acting out. And last part is, this is my problem. I can't tell people how to spend money, but between Oprah, Tyler Perry, all the rappers I know, we should collectively have black banks, black airlines, or at least we should be attempted. No, we get our money and everybody for the longest time is set back and floss. I see Killer Mike, T.I., and a lot of people getting involved now, but collectively, that was the thing. Chris, go ahead.
What I want to say is this. I somewhat agree with you, but what I think that we should highlight more of the people that are doing it. Like we say that, well, we don't do this, we spend that, but there's a lot of people, there is a lot of black entrepreneurship going on. There's like I said, I constantly say that our women are one of the number one growing entrepreneur class that there is. A lot of us black men are doing opening up businesses. What I think that we need to do is be intentional about our support, intentional about our awareness, intentional about promoting these type of people. You said on the previous show that you specifically go to Rodney Crabs a lot in the city. You're being intentional about your support. So all I would suggest for us is to be as intentional about our support as about promoting it also, because we do open up businesses. We do like you said, Killer Mike, he just started Greenwood banking, online banking. Let's be intentional about supporting those things instead of us saying, well, we don't do this, we don't do that, because there's so many examples of us doing it.
Not to interrupt you, but that's cool and all, but we still are patchy. Black women are doing this, and that. Black men are starting to do that. But you see how far apart my arms are? We need to collectively do that together. That's just like we had a conversation with Trump. Well, I mean, with Q, where he said, I got a plan for Black America, and then it turned into, what about black women? No, we have to see each other as one. But you're right, we need to highlight more. So I commend you on that. I just want to give before we close out, the X factor. We do have to remember that the faith base don't see black or white in this country, but the religious groups in this country are voting for Trump. So that's an X factor that we left out tonight. The X factor.
Let me say one more thing. In the conversation which y'all were just having before we go. Because I grew up. Both of y'all said the right points. Even with Chris saying promote it more. I'm not saying, I want to make this clear. I'm not saying we don't do it. I'm saying when you look at the demographic, I stay in Atlanta. I grew up in Palm Beach. So all the people you just named is in one place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that's it. You just took the perfect example of the perfect storm and said we're doing it. No, it's a small group of people in this one place doing this. Because right now, I watch the LGBT community come down Peachtree, and they said we're gonna paint the rain. This is our section now. This is our section. this is where we're gonna say this is our section. And guess what happened? They start buying up stores. They start putting their rainbow in all the windows, buying up coffee shops. Then they say, you know what we're gonna do to let them know we're just not gonna stick together. Well, this is our section. We're gonna paint the road rainbow. And they voted and said, hell no. They said, cool, we'll shut this whole block down. In 3 weeks, the street sweeper was coming through painting a rainbow right down the middle of the street. Because that's what I'm talking about. China, it's a little China here. It's a gay part of Atlanta. It's a Jewish part of Atlanta. It's a black city. But where is there going to be a say, you know what? Let's black people be intentional on being around other black people. So then know what you can do? You control the taxes, the schools. So now the baddest schools is not in the black neighborhoods. How about the best schools be in the black neighborhoods? Because all the money coming in, that $1 trillion that we spending or whatever that money, we could be spending into our neighborhood. I stayed in DeKalb County. When I sold my first house, I said, you know what? Where am I going to move to? I could have moved to Kennesaw. I could have moved to a lot of places. I moved to Stockbridge in a prevalently black area that's doing good. I said, you're right. I don't want my son to grow up in the hood, but I don't want him to grow up feeling like the oddball either. So I moved in a neighborhood that's diverse, where there's a lot of black doctors and lawyers. So when he see this, he's still getting a representation of himself. That's the point. But most black people get money and they move to where they accepted it, not where they have a presence and they can put their flag and they can say, this is who we are. All I'm saying is that as a people, be intentional. Like I say this, Rivera is right by the ocean. Why are we not? People are getting rich. Look at all the rich people we know that left Rivera and moved off, who was not buying property, oceanfront property in the city they grew up in. I talk to Art about this all the time. I'm like, yeah, bro, when I get this house, me and him talk all the time. And we're gonna try to set up something to start buying houses there. I understand where I come from. This is black-owned, black river beach property. I pay to go all over the world. My wife is from Georgia, so she understands the beach. She comes down there and be like, this is amazing. In Jamaica, it doesn't excite me that much because I grew up damn near like Jamaica, right by the beach. But what do? We come up there and say, let's move to Cali. Yeah, I moved to Cali and bought me a condo downtown. Bro, you could have bought 4 houses in Rivera. But we don't want to do that. We'd rather move to Palm Beach Gardens and say, I got a big house in Palm Beach Gardens and look down on the people who stay in Rivera. All I'm saying is turn Rivera into Palm Beach Gardens. And that's when we start winning. Because then when all the shooting go on and all the crap going in Rivera, it makes a difference. It's not just whatever Rivera. It's Rivera, the richest black city in the. That's how Atlanta got the little respect it got. Because the black people here still put money and open up stores in the hoods. That's why. Killer Mike's store is not in Buckhead. It's in the hood. T.I. Trap House, he could open it in Buckhead. He opened it in the hood. That's what I'm saying. That's why Atlanta is what it is. Because they still put money in the hood. That's all I'm saying.
All right, man. We had a show. And listen, I think I always say y'all guys keep me sharp. And I definitely always love to hear you guys, what you guys bring to the table. I feel like I know politics, but between the both of y'all always give me something to think about and always shapes my comments. So with 2 minutes left, I'm going to closing comments. Chris.
Well, black men, they say we have a lot to do with the deciding of this vote, this election. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm just telling you to get out there and vote. And what I suggest you do is vote your special interest. And if that doesn't happen this particular election, let's go back 2 years. Let's go back the next 2 years. Let's study the candidates and start voting for your particular interest. Get together with a group of like-minded men and try to grow that group economically, spiritually, whatever it may be. But again, let's start to educate ourselves on the political system, and for the most part, let's start leveraging our vote. We want something for our vote from now on. From now on, black men, you want something from your vote. Don't let anyone tell you anything different. Don't let women tell you anything different. Don't let any media tell you anything different. Black man, get something for your vote from now on. No matter who wins this election, from now on, get something for your vote. That's all
Mario.
I got.
I just want. I'm gonna make this quick. I know we normally do this, and I just want to do it tonight. I want to give a shout out to Santino Hall. He tuned in a lot, and he gave me a lot of comeback on this show. He's a guy that's from Rivera. He moved to Houston. He played football a couple of years, and he started a trucking company and a courier service, and he's doing very good in the transportation industry. But if you're in the Texas area and you're looking for a job, he's hiring. He needs CDL drivers right now. So you can look up Santino Speedy Delivery. You could Google that, or you can give him a call at 832-891-6721. He's hiring black men right now. All you need is your CDLs, black women, black men. I'm telling you, if you want a job, good brother, I know him. He's from the city. He's doing his part to change the narrative of black men lazy and black men don't work and black men not breadwinners. So if you're in the Texas area and you need a job, go see Santino. The last thing, not least, I want to thank everybody for watching this. And like Chris said, it's important, because they're saying exactly what Chris is saying. Black men are going to determine this vote. They're saying black men are going to determine this vote. Trump said, I know he's not going to take the deciding win from the black women. They're not going to vote for him. He is coming after the black men vote. So whether you vote for Trump or not, it's up to you. I'm just saying it's being said that black men control this vote. So black men, don't let us down. Go vote like our counterparts. And last but not least, Rello Hello album is out. Hiatus. If you want some good music, copy it. It's on every platform there is right now. Thank you.
Hello.
Well, to close it out, if that is the truth, Mario, it's probably because a lot of voters, a lot of felons got their right to vote restored this year, right? Yeah. So there would be an X factor that going to bring in a lot of votes as well. I'd like to thank everyone that tuned in. We are on all platforms, and Adrian Wilkins said it best tonight. No matter who wins tomorrow, the work that we started this year should be the plan that we continue. Forget who wins tomorrow night. We need to, whether you're local, the Black Super Friends have a plan. Get with a couple people that you can trust, do business with, and you can trust their character and you do business with them. Y'all come up collectively and come up with a plan for y'all life and for y'all community, whether you're buying homes, car, whatever. No matter who wins, Black Americans need to establish themselves and come up with a plan for their life, their future, their kids, and let's start to create legacies. We're going to always be behind the barrel in this country for a while, but establish yourself and let that be a focus point from now on. So we thank y'all for joining us this election night. So signing off from the Black Super